Hey everyone, welcome back to the Addison Smith Show. Right now there's a lawsuit crawling through an Ontario courtroom surrounding a baby who was recently born with a cleft lip. This baby boy was birthed via a surrogate mother who was hired and paid to produce said baby by two gay men. Get some lawyers, draw up a strict contract, deposit the funds, fertilize the egg in a lab dish, rent out the womb like it's an Airbnb, implant the embryo, grow it, birth it, ripping it away immediately from its mother, and send it home to be raised motherless for the rest of his life. That's the process for surrogacy. 22 weeks into this particular pregnancy from which this lawsuit stems, the ultrasound flags the cleft lip. Maybe a cleft palate, maybe a minor heart defect. The doctors aren't sure yet, but there's something wrong. Now, a cleft lip is about as fixable as a birth defect gets. It's a rather straightforward surgery and some therapy. Here, for example, is one such baby who was born with a cleft lip.
There goes my heart beating, and you are the reason I'm losing sleep. Please come back now. There goes my mind racing, and you are the reason that I'm still breathing. I'm hopeless now. I'd climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I broke.
I mean, you can't even tell, right? At worst, a baby, depending on the severity, might have a scar from the surgery, which is much more preferable than the alternative that the gay couple asked the mother to do, which is to kill the baby. And you see, even in the clip of that baby, doesn't look like they have a scar at all. The product, according to the gay couple, isn't going to turn out how they wanted it to. The item is defective, so we'd like to cancel the order. Here's the actual letter that the two fathers sent the woman surrounding this lawsuit. They said, quote, considering that medical tests indicate that the fetus has or is likely to have a genetic, chromosomal, or otherwise abnormality or defect, and in accordance with Article 8.5a of our surrogacy agreement, we want to inform you of our wish that the pregnancy be terminated. Although very difficult, this decision is free and informed. So the child in Canada is guilty of failing an inspection. And so therefore, please dispose of the merchandise, the baby. Now, thankfully, the woman at the center of this lawsuit, the surrogate, refused. After more testing was done, the defect was determined to, in fact, be a cleft lip, like the one of that baby that we saw in the video, like one that's easily fixed, far less serious than a cleft palate or a heart condition. But after the men learned that the defect was minor, they still insisted the baby be murdered. And the woman refuses. And eventually that precious child, born in the image of God, is born. And the woman not long after is slapped with this $600,000 lawsuit on the grounds that she failed to keep the gay couple informed about the health of the baby, caused them emotional distress, violated their confidentiality, and most interestingly, put the child at risk. That's what the lawsuit says. In fact, one of the men claims to have been so distressed by the affair that he was unable to work for over a year. Now, the woman has since talked to the press and made statements about it. She said, quote, you know, I'm a single mom. I have a daughter, and they're suing me basically for my house. They didn't get the perfect child they wanted, and they threw me away. It's very sad, but throwing humans away seems to be their MO. Unfortunately, things like this happen far too often in the surrogacy world. Take this, for example. Here's Olivia Morrill, an anti-surrogacy activist and she herself is actually the product of surrogacy, telling a similar story of a baby who unfortunately was not lucky enough to be given the privilege of life.
In the surrogacy contract, it is just normal to have abortion clauses. So the commissioning parents have the choice, if they wish, to demand an abortion to the surrogate. So there was this case where a surrogate mother was pregnant. She was in her 3rd trimester. And the baby, after the ultrasound, was found missing 2 fingers. And the commissioning parents did not want a child missing 2 fingers. So they asked the surrogate mother to perform an abortion. She was in her 3rd trimester, I have to say, full-grown baby, indeed. And so she refused. She wanted to keep a baby. She refused. She said no. Unfortunately, she received a letter from lawyers of the commissioning parents saying that the contract had to be enforced and that she had to get an abortion or else she would not receive the money. And in plus of that, she would be sued. So she was forced to abort this baby just because he was missing 2 fingers.
The contract says if they want to kill the baby, they can. Refusal to abide by the terms and conditions will result in losing everything you own. Either kill the baby or have your life burned down. And unfortunately, the woman didn't want to stand up for the baby. Here's another example. A wealthy Chinese actress and her boyfriend, Zhang Shuang and Zhang Hang, this couple traveled to America to commission 2 surrogates. The couple's relationship fell apart mid-pregnancy, and Zhang no longer wanted to be a parent. Now, there was for a time leaked audio circulating that has now been totally scrubbed from the internet, but it caught the woman, the girlfriend, frustrated that it was too late to make the surrogates abort, and openly annoyed that she couldn't cancel the order in time. So she pushed the idea of an alternative, abandoning the babies at the hospital, leaving them there. So long, hope you find a home. And ultimately the boyfriend wanted to keep the children and did after the relationship fell apart. Now the children yet again are motherless. In another instance in 2014, an Australian couple hired a 21-year-old Thai food vendor to carry their child. She was pregnant with twins, and when prenatal testing showed one of the twins had Down syndrome, the surrogate says the couple told her to abort him. She also refused. So they took the twin sister home to Australia and left her brother behind with a broke surrogate who couldn't afford his care. And if that wasn't bad enough, it turns out that the surrogate father is a convicted child sex offender who purchased and brought home a child to be entrusted into his care. Here's another. This is a news story out of California over a couple who were arrested for running a surrogacy scam.
All right, now to a bizarre story. In Southern California, a couple there under arrest and charged with child endangerment after police found their home packed with 21 children. Police believe the couple was part of a surrogacy scam that involves mothers from across the country. Here's CBS News Los Angeles reporter Nicole Comstock.
It's a massive 10,000 square foot, $4 million house in Arcadia with 9 bedrooms that were set up like hotel suites, neighbors say, the last time they got a peek through the front door.
It's kind of set up like a hotel, a big giant lobby, and all the rooms are like suites.
And like a round, what I can only describe as a hotel desk, and a gentleman sitting behind it like a clerk.
They were shocked to learn about all the children who were living here. Arcadia police say they took 15 kids from this home into protective custody after a 2-month-old baby came to the hospital with severe head trauma. They say security video inside the home of Sylvia Zhang and Guojun Shauwen showed their nanny, Chun Mei Lee, violently shaking and hitting that baby. Security video also showed other nannies abusing all of the children, according to police.
We came out here to see what we can do to help, and we hope all the babies are okay.
Detectives learned most of the kids were born to surrogate mothers around the country, and none knew they were carrying the couple's embryos at the same time. One of those surrogate mothers is now raising money online for legal fees after she found out the baby she carried for them ended up in foster care.
It's awful, Anytime there's kids involved, any kind of abuse, the people responsible need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law.
The couple was charged with felony child endangerment and neglect. It's unclear if they'll face any more charges related to their agreements with all of the surrogate mothers.
Detectives say they found 6 more children who were sent to stay with family friends for a total of 21 children.
So to recap, this couple was secretly mass producing babies, hiring as many surrogates at the same time to build a collection of 21 children, while running the surrogacy agency under a fake front. All the while, the surrogates were under the impression that they were carrying babies for a couple who wanted to adopt them. And the harsh reality that no one wants to talk about is that these kinds of stories are a feature, not a bug, of surrogacy. As long as surrogacy and IVF is around, this is going to continue to happen. Because at its core, surrogacy is the commercialization and commoditization of human life, reducing it to a transaction. Again, think about the process. All parties involved sit down ahead of time, draw up a legal document, in this case for a child, that they want to produce outside of natural conception. The paperwork is signed, money changes hands, the woman is bound to fulfill the terms of the contract, which could include to kill the baby inside the womb if the other party requests it. And IVF is sort of the whole engine underneath all of this. Now, I know a lot of you might have good friends, good Christian friends even, who have sought out methods like IVF because they desperately wanted a child and their hearts were certainly in the right place. I'm not questioning that, and I'm not questioning the ache of infertility. The desire for children is good and it's God-given. But we have to be honest about what the technology actually does and what it trains us to believe. IVF takes the creation of a human life, the most sacred thing in this world, the knitting together in the womb that the psalmist stands in awe of, and moves it onto a stainless steel counter. It turns procreation into production. And once a child is a product, well, products have specs. Products have quality control. Products get graded. You make a batch of embryos, you screen them, you pick the strong ones, and discard the weak ones. The ones with the wrong number of chromosomes, the wrong markers, the cleft lip equivalent at the cellular level, and you freeze or destroy the rest. This is an inescapable part of IVF and surrogacy that too many people fail to really think through. IVF, as standardly practiced, creates far more human embryos than are ever meant to be born, and the surplus are either frozen indefinitely, discarded, or destroyed in testing. And so if you believe a human life begins at fertilization, which is the historic Christian position and the most defensible one, and really the scientific historical position, then all of those embryos are human beings. And the routine practice of IVF ends enormous numbers of them. Millions of human lives sitting in nitrogen tanks or poured down the drain because they don't make the cut. But I'll try and put the IVF stuff on the back burner and focus on the case at hand for a moment, which is these children who are being born by surrogates to people who do not see them as their child. This couple in California, this gay couple, doesn't see the child as a child. They see them as a trophy. And if the trophy's chipped or isn't big enough, they'll just throw it in the trash and get one they like more. You don't put a kill switch in a contract for something that you love. You put a kill switch in it for something that you own. We don't write defect clauses for our sons and daughters. We write them for appliances, leased cars, merchandise. So the moment that you can return a child for a refund, you have already decided deep down that he was never a son and that he was always a product. And every single one of these children, the boy with the cleft lip, Zhang Shuang's twins, the 21 children in that Arcadia house, every one of them was deliberately, by design, by contract, separated from their mothers. Not by tragedy, not by death, not by hard circumstance that nobody chose or could have seen coming, but on purpose, by design. The one bond that every human being is supposed to start their life with is a mother who carries you and keeps you. But surrogacy treats this as a line item, an optional one to be contracted away. We have built in this world an entire industry on manufacturing motherless children, and then act shocked when the people who ordered them treat them like an order. So going back to this lawsuit out of Canada, I'm glad the mother didn't abort the child. Praise God. I hope that child is raised in a loving home, but it won't be in the home that he's currently in. Because as it turns out, the gay couple who ordered him then tried to kill him because his lip was a little misshapen, now is not only suing the mother for not killing him, but was given full custody of the child and took him. They have him. This whole mess, this whole industry thrives off of the degrading of little babies as disposable. It's like Build-A-Bear for humans, and it's one of the many moral indictments on our world that it's not illegal in every country on earth. But one day, God willing, if we keep our hand to the plow, it will be. All right, welcome back. Vice President JD Vance went on Joe Rogan this month, and they talked about a whole slew of issues, of course. Rogan shows are like 97,000 hours long, and I quite enjoy them. And in this case, they talked about the housing crisis in particular, which is something I want to focus on. Stuff like this is what I think separates JD Vance from a lot of Republicans. Vance knows where the wind is blowing. He just sort of gets it, right? So here's what he had to say about the housing crisis.
And in some ways, Joe, the game is rigged.
Yes.
Yes. If you look at, again, I think so much of housing because, this happened, I think it was during the presidential campaign, maybe it was right before. But I was talking to some family members over Thanksgiving, and just a sort of a younger friend of my wife's. They were like 5 or 6 years behind us. They were just about to get married, and this young woman, successful engineer, makes a higher salary than most Americans. She just sort of like tossed out there that when her parents' generation was coming up, it was like possible to own a house and to raise a family and not be worried that much about things. And my thought was, okay, you're an engineer. You make way more money than 75% of people your age, maybe 90% of people your age. And you think that it is like this ridiculous, unachievable objective to have literally what your parents had, which is a decent job, a nice house, and a safe place. Like at literally that same dinner, like another friend of my wife's was talking about this, and he, South Indian family, grew up, his parents immigrated. He was born and raised in San Diego, and he was like, when I was growing up in Oceanside, this is like a suburb of San Diego where a lot of Marines live in Oceanside. It's close to Camp Pendleton. So when I was growing up, all of my, like the kids that I played with, that I rode bikes with, that I was, playing street hockey with and football with, all of those kids were the sons of enlisted Marines in Oceanside, California. And then we went and looked at like Oceanside, California rents. Again, this is a couple years ago, rents and housing prices. Like every house was north of $1 million on the street this guy grew up in. And enlisted Marine, frankly, most Marine officers could not afford to buy $1 million house. So like, does the socialism thing scare me? Yes. Is it the wrong solution? Yes. But one thing I try to persuade my fellow Republicans of is socialism is the alternative if we don't have a pathway to give people a sense that the system is not rigged and that the American dream is attainable. That's like our job. That's what we have to do. I'm not saying Rome was built in a day. It's not going to be easy to undo some of these economic trends. But man, we ran the experiment. We ran the experiment of offshoring all of our industrial jobs, of becoming a services and finance economy, and allowing Wall Street to come in and buy every asset of modern life and turn it into an investable, line goes up asset. And what has that done? It's created a generation of kids who kind of are attracted to socialism. We have to fix that problem.
Spot on. frankly. Now, a lot of the boomer generation, I can kind of hear it now. They'll say, hey, when I bought my first house, the interest rate was 17.5% or whatever. But look, all you need to know, there's a lot of indicators, but all you need to know is this. In the 1970s, the home price to income ratio was about 2.3x. You have the home price, income, their income, or the price of the home they bought was about 2.3 times their income. In the 90s, it was a little over 3.2x. Do you know what it is today? 7x. Inflation adjusted, by the way. Since 1980, median home prices are up 551%. Median household incomes are only up 373%. Wages aren't keeping up with inflation. Home prices haven't kept up with inflation. I know people today, personally, who are paying $500 a month for their mortgage in a house that today would be $2,000 a month minimum. So the numbers are real. And when the sort of boomer generation says, oh, Gen Z's lazy, or they're bad with money, or they don't work hard enough or long enough hours, sure, there's people like that, but those are outliers. And honestly, it's a slap in the face to the guy who's waking up at 4 a.m., not coming home till after dark, working his fingers to the bone just to feed his family and put a roof over their head. Doesn't count him saving for retirement because he can't, because he's so stretched thin. So yes, there are young people who are lazy. There's old people who are lazy. Laziness doesn't have a monopoly on people born in the 90s or 2000s. Just like work ethic doesn't have a monopoly on people born in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And also, over time, we've offshored so many of these jobs, as he was pointing out. The jobs that Americans used to have that paid great. Offshore them to cheap foreign labor. On top of that, companies like BlackRock are buying up single-family homes so they can make money hand over fist by renting them to a single mother of 5 for every penny they can squeeze out of her. Because, we own all the housing for sale. Where else are you going to go? Now, one might be inclined to listen to all of this and conclude that you sound like a liberal, and Vance is sort of getting that attack. And I just think it's such two-dimensional thinking. I can't really take it seriously. Like, if you don't recite the worldview of George Bush or a Dick Cheney fanatic, line by line, letter by letter, you're somehow on the left. We can't be thinking like that anymore, guys. It's not a rigorous exercise, and not fruitful. And ultimately, it's just going to drive this divide that's gonna grow and grow. We have to take these matters seriously. Housing is at the most unaffordable point in American history. And sure, inflation has something to do with it. Inflation doesn't tell near the story that many would like you to think that it does. All right, welcome back. Check out this article from Fox News about a certain hearing this week. It says, quote, the Democrat side of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee was empty on Wednesday as Republicans questioned witnesses at a hearing on exposing fraud in America, prompting GOP lawmakers to accuse the minority of ducking a politically uncomfortable issue. Senator Gary Peters from Michigan, the ranking member on the committee, was the only Democrat present for the hearing's opening statements. He asked a handful of questions before appearing to leave sometime before Chairman Rand Paul addressed witnesses Nick Shirley, James O'Keefe, and Dylan Hedler-Godet. Otherwise, the Democratic side was fully vacant. Fox News Digital reached out to every Democrat on the Senate Homeland Security Committee, but none responded by press time. Republicans and conservative commentators quickly criticized, naturally, the absence of Democrats amid the ongoing scrutiny of fraud cases in Minnesota, California, and other states. Besides Peters, who did not stay for the main portion of the hearing, Democrats on the panel include Senators John Fetterman, Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, Richard Blumenthal, Ruben Gallego, Andy Kim, and Alyssa Slotkin. So not one Democrat came to a hearing on fraud in the United States in state, local, and federal government. It's just a little on the nose, don't you think? A little bit on the nose. Now, there was a moment in this hearing where this point was laid out. It's pretty funny. Listen.
Senator Scott.
Chairman, wouldn't a Democrat go next since the Republican just testified?
If there were a Democrat here, yes.
So there's no Democrats present at a hearing about fraud?
There doesn't appear to be a great deal of interest across the aisle.
It's beautiful, isn't it? That's great. So, as the article pointed out, you had several people testify, several journalists who have been pivotal to exposing the fraud that's been going on in these states, including James O'Keefe. Here he is testifying about catching homeless people who are getting paid to register to vote.
In February of 2026, I disguised myself as a homeless person and approached a petition circulator on Skid Row near San Pedro and South 6th Street in downtown LA. I saw cash clipped to his shirt, which I thought was odd. The petition circulator told me, "We're going to need 14 signatures and we're going to pay you $2. One of our reporters, disguised as a heroin addict with track marks on his arm, asked the homeless, "What's going on here?" They all replied with one word: money. We recorded a woman named Brown handing over cash as payment in exchange for a homeless person to register to vote in a federal election. Now that is a federal crime. Congress expressly criminalizes payments to people to register to vote. Why? Because the vote is sacred. It's an act of conscience, of judgment. And when it becomes contaminated by incentives, when it is for sale, it undermines the sanctity and fairness of the process designed to elect those who represent us. Our investigation contributed to a federal criminal prosecution, with U.S. Attorney Bill Asalia saying, "Once I saw these videos, I went to work." Brown described the whole thing as a, quote, pyramid game. And then came the irony. In a neighborhood of NGOs in Los Angeles designed to protect the vulnerable homeless population, the person being confronted by the NGOs was not the fraudster, it was the reporter exposing the fraud. Just minutes after we exposed these felonies, I was approached by a man who identified himself as being with the LAPD, and he began to record me. When I pressed him, he admitted he was actually with the LA Homelessness Authority. Under California law, that's a crime. So this was also a form of fraud, albeit covering up for the fraud happening across the street. But it got worse. We witnessed petition circulators giving marijuana in exchange for signatures on the petitions. And when they spotted our camera, they told one of our reporters, "I'm going to knock your bleeping ass. Don't come over here again. I'm going to beat your ass." He threatened us. So we decided to band together. We formed a Citizen Journalism Justice League, featuring Savannah Hernandez, Cam Higbee, Anthony Rubin, and John Tro. And over the next few weeks, we caught dozens of these cash and drug exchanges for signatures on the petitions. Together, over the course of those next few weeks, we released reporting that prompted the governor of California not to attack us, but to say that what we did was important and the activity should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Now, that part I found particularly interesting. Who is the governor of California right now? Gavin Newsom, who praised the reporting. You might have a Democrat dead to rights if you force him to condemn voter fraud and call for it to be prosecuted. That little tidbit, I'd been keeping up with that investigation from O'Keefe. I did not recall Gavin Newsom condemning that, so that was very interesting, which I looked it up, and of course it was true. I lived in California for a couple of years, and when I worked for Newsmax, I went to California during the primary, and I witnessed firsthand how easy it is to vote illegally if one wanted to. Particularly, there was a guy who I'm assuming was a Republican voter. I don't know, maybe not, maybe he was a Democrat. The reason I say that is because I was inside the polling station and I wasn't allowed to film in there. But it wasn't the place where everyone's voting. It was like the office right outside. He goes in and goes up to the counter and gives his name. And they said, "Great, here's your little piece of paper. Go back in there." And he asked to be ID'd, and they refused to accept his ID. And I specifically remember him saying, well, why won't you just check my ID so that you can see if make sure I am who I say I am? What happens if someone tries to vote in my name and just say they're me? The poll worker's response, and I'm quoting almost verbatim, was, "I don't think you have to worry about that." So having lived in California, having experienced that, I can attest it's way too easy to vote illegally. And the poll workers, no one cares about the integrity of the voting process in California, which is unfortunate, and which is why a lot of people who aren't supposed to be voting are voting. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We talked a little bit at the top of the show about America's evil top hat, Canada. Here's a wild story also involving Canada that's just, it's great because it's got all of the descriptors of our modern day political mayhem. This is a leftist woman who was arrested this month for slapping a minor, allegedly because the minor, a teenager, was wearing pro-Trump clothing. This is from ABC News. Caitlin Tracy, 33 years old, approached a teenager and 3 friends on the boardwalk in Point Pleasant Beach on July 3rd as she recorded them with her phone, according to court documents and according to reports. The teen was wearing sweatpants with the words Trump and ICE. And Tracy of Asbury Park yelled at the 2 people in the group wearing patriotic colored sweatpants before she slapped the teen across the face and body, according to an affidavit. The teen was not injured. According to police, the alleged assault was captured on surveillance video, and Tracy was arrested on Monday after she was identified following an investigation. She was charged with endangering the welfare of a child, simple assault, harassment, and obstruction, and she was brought to Ocean County Jail. And there is footage of this. I think we have it. We'll throw it up here. See if we can pull that up. This is the only video that I was able to find, but you can see her slap her and then walk away. But here's the real kicker. The woman is now in ICE custody because turns out she's an illegal alien from Canada. Slaps a girl for wearing a Trump ICE shirt or clothing and is an illegal alien. Makes sense why she was offended. DHS posted this of her on X. Caitlin Tracy is a criminal alien from Canada who is charged with simple assault, the neglect of a child, harassing communication. She struck the teenage girl wearing pro-Trump memorabilia on 4th of July weekend and was arrested by the Point Pleasant Police Department, who facilitated a controlled transfer into ICE custody, where she will remain in their custody pending her immigration proceedings. She entered the United States on April of 2024 on a set visa that expired in September of 2024. In violation of our nation's law, she overstayed her visa and failed to depart. I mean, that's just beautiful, isn't it? This liberal idiot in the United States illegally sees someone wearing a shirt that offends her because it's an ICE shirt and she wants nothing to do with ICE because they would deport her. So in all of her brilliance, she decides to commit a crime and ultimately is handed over to ICE to be deported. Personally, I hope it's a really long, drawn-out process and that she just has to sit in a detention center for, you know, I'm not saying cruel or unusual punishment or anything, but at least a few weeks, maybe a couple months. And the story doesn't end there. There's more layers to this. The woman has a boyfriend.
I need help. I don't know what to do. My wife is being detained by ICE. She's in Ocean County Jail right now, and I can't get a hold of her. She keeps trying to call me, but they won't let me put money on her card. The kiosk in the Toms River jail is broken, and all the numbers and stuff they gave me wasn't right or wouldn't allow me to put money on her card. And ICE is coming there to pick her up. I need an immigration lawyer. I need help. I don't know what to do. I don't have any money. I'm so broke. But I gotta figure something out. I gotta save her. I need help. I need you to figure out. I don't know. This just happened. I need help. I need my wife. I don't want her to get hurt. I don't want to see her get... I don't know what to do.
I don't want her to get hurt.
I don't know what to do.
She's safe now, bro. She's in jail. She's safe.
detained by ICE and brought to Delaney Hall in Newark, New Jersey. My wife is a Canadian citizen and I'm an American citizen. We've been married for a little over 3 years, and I'm just doing anything I can to get her story heard and bring any help to and attention to her situation so that I can get her released, even if that means back to Canada. I don't care what your opinions are of me or the situation. That's kind of irrelevant. All that matters is her safety and her well-being. And to all the people who want to spread rumors and misinformation, I hope you find peace one day, but you are vile.
Oh man, it has everything. So he keeps saying he hopes that she's safe. She's fine, bro. She's in jail. No one can hurt her there, except for her cellmate. He says, I don't care what your opinion is of me, obviously referring to him and his girlfriend being leftists. Hey man, the whole reason your wife's in an ICE facility is because she cared a little too much about someone else's opinion, right? So a little bit of irony there. And then lastly, I noticed he said that he called people like me vile. Did you notice on the screen there his poster that said 1,000 virgins for Satan's little master? We're the vile ones. If we're vile, hey, I wonder what else this guy posts about on the internet.
They're always laughing at us. So why wouldn't I laugh when one of them takes it to the neck and there's no
Okay,
more?
Charlie
The
Kirk
world is a
got
lighter
shot in the
place now
neck
that he's gone.
and he's
And I say,
dead.
ha, ha, ha.
The world's a lighter place. I hope the entire Trump family gets cancer, and I mean everybody, little kids and stuff. We're the vile ones though, remember. This goes on.
Mother, go! Come on, he's gonna die, right? He's gonna turn. Oh, he's so
Talking
sick.
about Trump.
He's been to the hospital.
He's gonna
so
die.
many die. He's got it. I'm telling you, man. I'm putting my money on it this time.
I hope the next assassination attempt works. This guy, by the way, locked his TikTok account, like the coward that he is, because people were clipping videos like this.
President Trump has been diagnosed with a chronic condition affecting the veins in
He's
his legs.
dancing
Photos of the president's
because
swollen
Trump was
ankles and
diagnosed
bruised
with
hands
a
gained a lot of attention on social
blood
media.
condition
Now
of
the
sorts.
White House says he has chronic venous insufficiency, a condition where veins have trouble.
So yeah, a real scholar, a real upstanding, totally non-vile gentleman here to lecture us. So the whole story it's really just beautiful. I don't want to celebrate someone's adversity, but there's a little bit of an exception in this case, right? Also, the final layer to this is that her GoFundMe, they set up a GoFundMe for her, and that got taken down because she broke the law. So it's beautiful. We will take a quick break and be right back. All right, guys. Well, breaking a little news here. The worst person you know just made a great point. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, take it away.
People can just go missing without explanation. Not just Mitch McConnell. You had another member here that was just gone for 4 months and didn't tell anyone where they were, no whereabouts, no transparency. I mean, this is it. I don't even know how this is legal. I really don't even know how this is legal. Things do happen, you know, people get into medical incidents. If you're in the hospital, you're in the hospital, but I do think that there should be some sort of, there's a line here, and I think almost everyone can agree that it's been crossed. This is not normal. This is not normal at all.
Yeah, it's not normal. Like I said, the worst person you know. She's absolutely right. Credit where it's due. Mitch McConnell, and I covered this a few episodes ago, right after all of this happened. You know, he went into cardiac arrest, apparently. The 911 call came out, and they were dispatching. I forget what the phrase was, but it's the type of emergency staff that they dispatch when someone is seriously hurt or is dead in order to revive them. It's specialists. It's not your typical ER run or ambulance run. So Mitch McConnell might have been dead and was revived. and talked about it on the show. You know, he's not running for re-election, thankfully. His term's up, I think, in January, so he'll be gone. But no proof, well, there was some alleged proof of life. We'll get to that in a second. But he hasn't been seen in public. You've had all sorts of people say, yeah, I've talked to him. He's locked in. He's fully engaged in Senate business. And the longer this drags on, the longer people rightly don't buy it. It just doesn't pass muster. He hasn't been seen in person. He hasn't, to my knowledge, posted anything himself. The best that we got was a picture of him at the hospital doing the classic holding a newspaper, right? And it looked like, there's a lot of debate about whether it's AI. I'm not going to speculate and get too conspiratorial about it. But if you look at the text of the photo, we might have it, we might not. If you look at the text of the photo that's supposed to be the newspaper of the New York Times or Washington Post, doesn't really say anything in coherent English, leading many to think that it was a fake photo. But yeah, this shouldn't be allowed. The fact that people are allowed to just, or members of Congress are allowed to just go away, not be there to vote, not fulfill their duties to their constituents, there needs to be some kind of clause or law about this. I'm thinking of the Warren Buffett quote when he said, I could end the deficit in 5 minutes. You just pass a law that says anytime there's more than a 3% deficit of the GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. We need something like that for health issues. But going back to that proof of life, we do have that proof of life. I was actually wrong. Let's look at that.
Honey, show them you're okay.
Okay, so
I told you he was okay.
He's fine. I was wrong. Ignore everything I just said. We're going to take a quick break while I recover and repent for my sins, and we'll be right back. All right, so I might just make this a normal occurrence on the show where I just make fun of awful churches at the end of each show. And believe me, I'm using the term church very loosely here.
I am brave, I am bruised,
so this is a church
who I'm meant to be.
Playing
This is me.
The Greatest Show.
Look out, 'cause here I come.
I don't know why I do this to myself, because it's one of the most depressing things that I look at whenever I'm scrolling X. But I also can't stay away from it because it gives me an opportunity to attack the libs.
This is me.
This is me. Make no apologies at a church. Okay. I don't remember this part. Okay. All right, so we've got the drag, we've got the colorful little decorations. You saw the Black Lives Matter sign behind the Pride stuff. I guess it was on the back of the bus, apparently, so the Pride gets to sit on the front of the bus. The song choice, you know, there's an element to it that's interesting, which is come as you are, right? Come as you are. But as the Lord says in the scriptures, talking about the Lord's Supper, this is a meal for the believer. And this is not a church's rule. This is not man's rule. It's God's rule that we don't want you to eat and drink judgment upon yourself. So yes, absolutely, come as you are, but don't stay away from the Lord's Supper for long. You, in fact, need to change who you are. Who you are fundamentally needs to be changed in order for you to take communion with your brothers and sisters in Christ. So there's an element to that where they're saying, I'm going to come as I am, but then they just don't, you know, follow all the way through, which is, I'm going to come as I am and I'm going to change. They say the opposite. They say, no, I'm not going to change. I make no apologies. This is me. So they've really inverted Christianity entirely. And clips like this are just really helpful of pointing things like that out. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. That'll do it for the show today. Everyone have a great day wherever you are. Great night. We'll see you next time.